Then what is the third law? That is Newton's third law of motion. Third law of motion states that when one object exerts a force on other object, the second object instantaneously exerts a force back on the first object. That means to every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. That is the Newton's third law of motion. To every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Okay. So consider two objects A and B. Suppose A exerts a force on B, and let that force be F1. Then B in turn exerts a force on A. Let that force be F2. And these two forces F1 and F2 will be equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. If F1 is 10 Newton, then F2 also will be equal to 10 Newton, but it will be in opposite direction. Okay, so these two forces are always equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. And these two forces acts on different objects, right? The force exerted by A act on B. Similarly, the force exerted by B act on A. So the force exerted by A on B can be considered as action. Then the force exerted by B on A can be considered as reaction. So this is the action-reaction pair, and this action-reaction pair or forces always acts on different objects. They never act on the same object. Okay. Now what are the applications? So many applications are there based on Newton's third law. See, the propulsion of fish through the water is an example of Newton's third law. A fish makes use of its fins to push water backwards, and this push serves to accelerate the fish forwards. The size of the force on the water equals the size of the force on the fish. The direction of the force on the water is opposite the direction of the force on the fish. So nothing much difficult. See, just consider the fish uses its fins to push water backwards. That means the fish exerts a force on the water in the backward direction. So water exerts a force on the fish which will be in the forward direction, and due to that forward force the fish moves forward. Okay. Then flight of the bird is an example of action-reaction pair. So the wings of the bird push the air downwards. Okay, the wings of the bird pushes the air downwards. So the wings exert a force on the air in the downward direction. In turn, the air will exert a force on the bird in the upward direction. As a result, the bird will fly upward. Okay. Now, a swimmer pushes against the water while the water pushes back on the swimmer. Just like the fish, a swimmer exerts force on the water in the backward direction, and the water exerts force on the swimmer in the forward direction. Then lift is created by helicopters by pushing the air down, thereby creating an upward reaction force, just like the flight of the bird. Rock climbers pulling their vertical rope downwards to push themselves upwards. Apart from this, other examples are also there. See, on the figure you can see a bullet is fired from the gun. So, which is the action force here? The bullet exerts, that means the gun exerts a force on the bullet, due to which the bullet moves forward. So the bullet will exert a backward force on the gun, due to which the gun moves a little bit backward. And this backward movement of the gun is known as recoiling of gun. Okay, that will be our reaction force. Force exerted by bullet on the gun is the reaction force. Now, while walking, our foot, what happens? Our foot pushes the floor backward. So that will be the action force, and the floor in turn pushes us forward. That will be the reaction. Next, when a sailor or boy jumps from a boat, what happens? The boy exerts a force on the boat in the backward direction, and the boat exerts a force on the boy in the forward direction, due to which he is able to move up from that boat. Okay. So these are also some of the applications of Newton's third law of motion. Okay, then rocket propulsion can also be considered as an example of Newton's third law of motion. The jet of gases that is coming out from the rocket will exert a force on the air in the downward direction. So the air will exert a force on the rocket in the upward direction, and due to which the rocket moves forward. Okay. Then next, so many conservation laws are there in nature. So one such conservation law is conservation of momentum. Actually, the Newton's second law and third law led to the conservation of this momentum. And what is the law of conservation of momentum? In the absence of external unbalanced force, the sum of momenta of two objects before collision is equal to sum of momenta of those objects after collision. Okay. So, in the absence of external force, the total momentum before collision is equal to the total momentum after collision. This is law of conservation of momentum. That means the total momentum of a system remains conserved. So, how can you prove it? So, in order to prove that, consider the case. Here, there are two objects A and B. The initial velocity of A is UA and the initial velocity of B is UB. Final velocity of A, that means these two objects collide. So this is the case of collision. And during collision, A exerts a force on B, that is FAB. And in turn, B exerts a force on A as per Newton's third law. And that is FBA in the opposite direction. And after collision, both A and B change its velocity. So let the final velocity of A be VA, let the final velocity of B be VB. So this is the case before collision and this is the case after collision. Okay, and what is the momentum of A before collision? The momentum of A before collision can be considered as PA. Similarly, momentum of B before collision can be considered as PB. And momentum of this object before collision, after collision can be considered as P dash A. Similarly, the momentum of object B after collision can be considered as P dash B. So this is the situation. Now, what is according to Newton's second law? The change in momentum of A due to collision with B can be considered as P dash A minus PA, that is change in momentum of A. And when we divide this term with time, you will get rate of change of momentum of A. And according to Newton's second law, rate of change of momentum of an object is equal to the force. And here we are considering the case of A. So we can consider the force exerted by A on B, that means FAB. So the rate of change of momentum of A is equal to FAB. Similarly, there will be rate of change of momentum of B. So change in momentum of B is final momentum minus initial momentum, that is P dash B minus PB. So P dash B minus PB represents the change in momentum of B. And divided by time means it is the rate of change of momentum of B. So rate of change of momentum of B is equal to force exerted by B. Force exerted by B on A. Okay, so that is our second equation. So we got the expression for FAB and FBA. But we know FAB is equal to minus of FBA. That means both FAB and FBA are equal but opposite. So FAB is equal to minus of FBA. So just substitute that. So when you equate both the expressions 1 and 2, you will get P dash A minus PA equal to minus of P dash B minus PB. Okay, delta T and delta T will cancel. They are like terms. So this is FAB and this is minus of FBA because FAB is equal to minus of FBA. And just bring all the prime terms together and non-prime terms together. So bring this minus PB to this side. This is not minus PB. When you remove the bracket, you will get minus P dash prime plus PB. Okay. So when you remove the bracket, so bring this plus PB to this side. So whenever you bring the plus PB, no, we can do one thing. Bring the minus P prime B to LHS part. So whenever you bring minus P prime B to this side, you will get P prime A plus P prime B equal to, here you have minus PA, bring this minus PA to RHS part, so it will become plus PA plus PB. So this means PA plus PB. PA plus PB means total momenta before collision. Okay, PA was the initial momentum of A, PB was the initial momentum of B. So PA plus PB is the total momentum before collision. And this P dash A and P dash B means the momentum after collision. So P dash A plus P dash B will be total momentum after collision. So we got the result, total momentum after collision is equal to total momentum before collision. That means the total momentum of the system does not change. But individually the momentum can change before and after collision. The total momentum, however, will remain the same. That means consider the momentum of A before collision, let it be 5, and the momentum of B before collision was 10. Then what is the total momentum? It is 15. Suppose after collision, the momentum of A has changed to 9 and the momentum of B has changed to 6. Okay, but the total momentum is 15 itself. So here we can see that individually the momentum changes. Momentum of A changes from 5 to 9, momentum of B changes from 10 to 6, like that. But the total momentum before and after collision remains the same, provided in the absence of external forces. Okay. So that's all about this session. So we have just gone through the basic ideas of force and laws of motion, and all these concepts you had already studied in your class 9 physics. Notes of the topic and YouTube video have been uploaded. Just go through it, and I think it will be easy for you because it's just a quick review. We will meet in the next session. Till then, take care all of you. Stay home, stay safe. Keep learning. Thank you.